Unlike the single central railway station found in most cities, including those in my homeland of Australia, London boasts an impressive array of 14 terminal stations, each being a gateway to places right across Great Britain. And if I did one on Sydney, my hometown, I'd have one station to cover and I'd probably be done in about 5 minutes of video. But London has so many, 14 in fact, it's going to take me a bit longer. But why does London have such a multitude of terminals? The answer lies partially in history, with private companies each establishing their own London terminus, and partly in old government regulations or laws that restricted construction of railway stations in central London. And because there were so many, I've done it in 3 parts. In part 1, we started with the iconic Paddington, Euston and King's Cross stations. In part 2, the hubs in the south and the southwest, including Victoria, Waterloo, Charing Cross and Blackfriars. Now, join us as we conclude the grand tour, I guess, with the stations in the east, like Cannon Street, London Bridge, Liverpool Street and Moorgate. All right, here we go. Buckle up. I'm Marty, and welcome to Backtracks. And why have I grouped these stations together? Well, they're generally all in the east, but also they generally all head in easterly directions towards the Channel Coast, with southeastern looking after trains to Kent and cities like Dover, sea to sea to Essex's South End, and Greater Anglia to Suffolk and Norwich.
Kev in Norwich?
Gravy.
That's not a condiment, it's a hot sauce.
Let's fire the gun on our journey and head to Cannon Street. Cannon Street, built in 1866, was the London terminus of another branch of the South Eastern Railway. Like Charing Cross, it was extension from London Bridge, this time directly north across the Thames. Today it's one of the 2 London termini of the South Eastern Main Line, the other being Charing Cross. The station runs services by South Eastern, mostly catering to commuters in the South East London area and Kent, with occasional services further into the latter. Now, heading back across the Thames, we get to London Bridge. And this is the original, the oldest of the termini. London Bridge was built by the London and Greenwich Railway, the first public railway in London. And it was later expanded by several other companies, such as the London and Croydon Railway and the South Eastern Railway. This station connects London with destinations in the southeast of England, like Brighton, Dover and Canterbury. And it's a big station. It occupies a large area on 3 levels immediately south of London Bridge, from which it takes its name. It even has a little brewery in it. It's the oldest, but it looks pretty modern these days. The station was comprehensively redeveloped between 2009 and 2017. And I guess the biggest thing is the Shard. Sharp-looking building opened right next door to the station in 2012, which at the same time included a new entrance and a roof for the terminal level concourse. So let's leave there and head to Fen Church. This was the London terminus of the London and Blackwall Railway. Fen Church was one of the first elevated railway stations in the world, and the first in the City of London, replacing the earlier Minories station further to the east. Today, the station and all trains are operated by sea to sea. I guess that means capital to the coast, I guess. I should probably look that up. Services are run on the lines originally built by the London and Blackwell Railway and the London, Tilbury and Southend Railway. Fen Church is one of the smallest railway terminals in London in terms of platforms, but one of the most intensively operated. And it's the only London terminal with no direct interchange with the London Underground, although Tower Hill on the Underground and Tower Gateway on the Docklands Light Rail are not too far away. Fen Church Street is one of the 4 railway stations featured on the Monopoly game London Edition. And like a lot of people, I wondered why the 4 stations were actually picked: King's Cross, Marylebone, Liverpool Street and Fen Church. Long story short, apparently the UK rights holder to the game, John Waddington Limited of Leeds, also made playing cards. And one of their sets was called Beautiful Britain and contained images of great British locations. And at one time they had a deal with LNER to feature LNER destinations. So, hence, when it came to negotiation of places to feature on the Monopoly game, they went with LNER stations of the time. But there are some other theories as well. But that one sounds pretty good to me. Let's keep moving on. The third terminal station that opened in London was Bishopsgate back in 1840, but that was replaced in 1874 by Liverpool Street as the Great Eastern Railway's main London terminus. By 1895, it had the most platforms of any London terminal station. And I said it was the original London terminus of the Great Eastern Railway, which later became London North Eastern Railway, the famous LNER. Today, it's the terminus of the West Anglia Main Line to Cambridge, the Great Eastern Main Line to Norwich, and commuter trains servicing London and destinations to the east of England, and the Stansted Express to, again, yeah, you guessed it, to Stansted Airport. Liverpool Street was built as a dual-level station with provision for the underground right from the start. So a tube station opened in 1873 for the Metropolitan Railway, and it's now serviced by the Central, Circle, Hammersmith and City and Metropolitan lines. And of course now the Elizabeth line. And for the year up to April 2023, it had 80.4 million passengers. It was the busiest railway station in the United Kingdom. So let's head to the last station on our journey around the terminal stations of London. And if there was an award for the one that was not like the other ones, that would go to Moorgate. Firstly, because on the National Railway map of train operators, I couldn't even see Moorgate mentioned. But I've been there and I can confirm that it is a terminal station, which is operated by Great Northern. Obviously, trains that head north. And the Great Northern and City Railway began serving the station in 1904. The other big difference to the other mainline stations is that the two platforms for the main lines are all underground. And they are just like an underground station if advertising and artwork had never been invented. It's pretty uninspiring. I do love this station because there are so many different platforms for so many different lines. There's actually the shield of a tunnel boring machine still stuck at the end of platform number 10. This shield was going to be used to dig part of a very short planned extension to the south, but it was quickly abandoned. And a quick shout out to Old Street. I went there to have a look because I thought it was a terminal station. It wasn't, but here's some video anyway to prove that I did go there. Gee, well, I think this is the end. And thanks to those who have watched all 3 of these videos. Thank you. For what it's worth, and it's not worth much, my favourite stations, and well, I can't not like any railway station or tram stop, but I would probably say the least favourite, Cannon Street, because I just saw the boring modern end of it. And I didn't really like Fen Church. Why? Because it took me a few attempts to actually find the main entrance. And when I got there and started filming, I was chased out by staff saying I couldn't film there. So C to C, not for me. My favourite stations, well, I think that's an easy one. Already mentioned one of them, Paddington. It's a quintessential railway station for me. The next is St Pancras. Why? Because I just love the idea you can get in a train station in the centre of London and pop out in Paris. So there you have it. An Australian's view of the London terminal stations. Not sure when I'm going to be back in London. I've got film to do a few more videos. One of them on the Holborn tram tunnel. If I have time to do that, I will make it. But otherwise, you can catch me making more videos on railway lines on this channel or on my other one, which focuses on tram lines. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Backtracks.